All right, we are recording. Welcome, welcome to the Mystery School experience with me, Katerina. And I intend to leave plenty of time for Q&A. So if you have a question or something that you wanted to ask me in regards to this topic of the mysteries, topic of the path of the priest, priestess, and oracle channeling, the topic of walking this and living this mythic path. Please write down your questions, save them, and I hope to have time to answer them. So, this has been a really beautiful journey. Instead of attempting to simply tell you what a mystery school path is, I felt guided to open the school and to give anyone who's drawn to this free access. And each session was unique and different. It was channeled, right? And the very first session, we dove into these principles, right? Prerequisites. Just how if you would apply to a university or college, you would have to meet certain requirements. The mystery school path has also certain requirements, right? So that was what we did when the session one, we dove into what were those requirements. And the very first one was devotion, the attitude of devotion, of cultivating that flame and really maintaining that flame of asking yourself, what am I devoted to? Right? What is my life devoted to? What do I choose to devote myself next? So, mystery teachings are for those who are choosing to be devoted to something higher, devoted to spiritual vision, divine assignment, divine destiny, right? And this is what really sets apart those who are on the path of spiritual tourism, right? Simply sampling, simply nibbling, simply living kind of like a half hearted, half committed life without judgment, right? I can remember myself in that stage as well. But then there comes a point, a shift, a turning point where you feel summoned, where you feel called to a deeper work, to a deeper assignment, and you begin to cultivate a new kind of relationship with your calling, with your spiritual practice, with your own heart. And a new flame gets activated, and it's a flame of devotion. So it's a prerequisite number one, right? The flame of devotion. And then the second quality that we discussed is the quality of refining and developing this soul quality of tranquility, being peace in motion, learning to stay centered in your inner temple, right? Building that temple and learning to stay grounded and centered no matter what's happening in the collective outside and also in your own life. And when you do fall out of the center, do you have the tools and practices to get back there, right? To restore your center, to come back to that tranquility. So the mystery school teachings give us these special trainings, training of the mind, training of emotions, training of the willpower, training of attention. So we become that peace in motion. Mystery teachings help us grow deep roots. And you know, my favorite saying, when your roots are strong, there is no reason to fear the wind. So, mystery teachings are deeply practical, right? They help us navigate the time of great change on the planet and to play our role in this divine transformation. So, the third prerequisite was that sacred balance. So, we keep developing that balance between taking care of our physical life and also deepening our inner development. So we don't make that grand mistake that only leaning into our spiritual development, right? And becoming dissociate, right? Kind of like flying away into the ethers and forgetting our earthly responsibilities. It's a big mistake. We become ungrounded. We become a little disconnected, right? So the mystery school teachings uh, bring us back to that sacred balance. That this is the task for modern mystics. How do we embrace our earthly duties and responsibilities with that mystical awareness? So that was the session one, kind of a recap. There was more, right? Who can remember what else we had there? I have session notes for you if you want to watch it. We also dove into the three levels of spiritual awakening that is rarely taught. So it was a rich, like a chocolate cake kind of session. And a session two, I was sharing with everyone the ancient Egyptian mysteries. And I got a question. One of the attendees asked me, Katerina, why ancient Egyptian gods? Why them? What is the connection? And I contemplated on that and I brought you a symbol, an ankh, one of the ancient symbols of eternal life. And I also have another symbol. Look at that. So the rod of power, and sometimes you see pharaohs or different deities that you can see on temple walls. They stay like this, or they hold their symbols like this, right? So why ancient Egypt? Because we do still have physical proof of that civilization on the planet. And we can connect to those ancient beings. And the birth and like the root of mystery school tradition lays in ancient Egypt. And I would go even further. I would go way back into Atlantis right away, right? That's the lineage where I feel deeply connected to with my soul. But it feels like Atlantis is quite an advanced level to start. So I feel guided to start with ancient Egypt as something that we can see the temples, we can dive into what has been uncovered, we can read Egyptian Book of the Dead, we can read those manuscripts and the manuals, and it gives us that sense of grounding. We can actually connect to that lineage of mystery schools that has been cultivated in ancient Egypt. Also, why ancient Egypt is because of ancient deities and ancient gods who truly represent living principles of nature. So in ancient Egypt, they believed nature was divine. And don't we all need that refreshment of perspective? Imagine if entire human collective woke up from the trance that nature is just something to take and explode and dominate, right? Imagine if entire human collective wakes up from that story and we begin to bow down humbly in front of trees and ocean. And when the wind touches our face, we feel that divine just touched us. Imagine we begin to return to that level of reverence. And that's what was cultivated in Lemuria, in Atlantis, in ancient Egypt. They looked at the elements, the wind, the ocean, the water, the fire, the earth as sacred. They looked at them as these are our grandparents. This is a grandmother moon. This is a grandfather sun. This is a living conscious entity. So they called the world of nature Netherland, right? Neturus or Neters, however you pronounce it. And all the ancient Egyptian gods were netters or neuturus. So they were these divine expressions of the universe that you could build a relationship with, and you could partner up and co-create. And that what was why their civilization was so unique and so progressive. And so this is why I go to that lineage, because it's something that we can connect to, right? And relate and learn from. And also, I practice shamanic mystery path teachings, meaning the shamanism is all about, this I lost the thought. Okay, we'll just let it go. It's gonna come back to me when it's time. But when I was tuning in before the session, I was on the sun, meditating, asking spirit, what's important? What's the one key idea that if people who attend this session, they can walk away with? And I kept sitting and waiting and listening. And a key idea came to me. And it sounded like this: you will be drawn to ancient mysteries and the mystery school because deep inside you feel and you remember that there is something so much more to your life on this planet. There is something so much more than just getting a good job or running a successful business or paying your mortgage on time or even raising a family, right? Raising your children and having a good family. Deep in your soul, there is a bigger question. And until you find your answer to that question, life will not feel complete. Life will not feel like, I am truly orienting myself to something important. So the mystery school path opens up the horizons of our consciousness. It gives us a connection to a much bigger reality. Not only that, it also teaches us how to live well, as I shared in the last session, how to live really well, how to not to commit the major mistake that every soul is not wanting to make, which is dying unfulfilled, dying without completing your sacred soul assignment. So the mystery school answers those big questions. Are you living well? Are you prepared to meet death? Are you prepared to meet life? Right? So it opens up these big questions and answers and conversations, right? And also, the mystery school teaches you about the science of the soul. And no matter what lineage we tap into, whether it's a Tibetan lineage, which is a really beautiful path, or we can learn about the spiritual science of ascension, the rainbow body, whether we're going to Egyptian lineage and we begin to study the mysteries of multiple bodies. In ancient Egyptian mystery school, you would be taught that you have 9 souls, not just one, 9 souls. Whether you're going to a mystical Jewish tradition, Kabbalah, where you would be introduced to 22 parallel incarnations that you're running, like whatever you wherever wherever tradition you're going, you would be opened up a whole new dimensions of understanding of who you are. And the more you connect to a bigger realities, the more different is your approach to your daily life. And the ultimate goal of initiations in the mystery school, we're going to talk about today, the topic will be about initiation. There were two groups of people, initiate and non-initiate, right? And those who would be drawn to the path of initiation, they were yearning to open their ancient eyes and to live from this perspective of knowing themselves as an immortal beings. And this was the goal of initiation and mystery schools. And the word initiation can be intimidating, right? Like, what is initiation? Or exciting, because initiation is can be translated as starting a new chapter of your soul development, leaving the old chapter behind and stepping into a whole new spiral of soul development. Initiation, I often speak about initiation by fire, right? Or initiation by air, initiation by water. There's this different elemental rites of passages that your soul would choose to go through if you say, I want to know who I am. I don't want to just live like an ego. I want to live as an empowered, immortal soul entity. I'm raising my hand, Great Spirit. Open my ancient eyes. Then you would go through these elemental initiations. And initiations have several causes, reasons, benefits, right? Initiation gives you access to a new level of power. Or if you don't like the word power, substitute the word energy. A new level of energy. Just imagine if you had 10 times more energy. What would you create? What would you do? So, initiation gives you access to a bigger capacity. In order to access that next level of your capacity, you would go through a sort of a next level training, next level of purification, next level of study, devotion, humility. So, right now in our modern times, our human incarnation is initiation indeed. Wouldn't you agree that what we're being asked to experience during this life, this incarnation, can feel like initiation, right? Of how much training of the mind you need to cultivate to discern non real from real, important from unimportant, to silence the noise and the fear and the drama movie that is always at play, always wants to sink you in, and to learn to listen to the voice of your soul, the voice of the teachers of the light that you are drawn to work with. So the word initiation is, I love it. To me, it's so familiar, and I remember going through a series of past life remembrances. And I was always, really a willing, curious explorer of my own soul records. And I talk to my guides, talk to my spirit guides, and I say, whenever my consciousness is ready to remember more, I am ready to remember. Please unveil, unveil and show me. Show me my soul history. Show me my deeper soul assignment, right? So, one of the things that I've learned working with ascended masters and these ancient gods is it has to come from a willing heart. Like, you get to want that knowledge, that revelation, that transformation, that growth of the soul. So it was a few years back, almost like 5 years back, when I was in in a altered state of consciousness on a plant medicine ceremony where I could access my guides without interference of the egoic mind and the brain. And I had a conversation with my guides and I said, if I'm ready, can you show me where the soul has started, how long have we been hanging out on this planet? And I set that intention, let it go, and then in a short time I am having an experience. I am being taken into a past life experience where I am laying in initiation chambers. And I recognize I am in the process of initiation. And I don't know what time it is, but I am in the process of it. And I'm laying in one of those sarcophagus, right, that you can still see in ancient Egypt. They were a very unique um, devices, right, of traveling, of soul travel, and connecting to any place on the cosmos, and also accessing any dimensions. So I'm having this experience, this memory that I am laying in sarcophagus, and I've been training for this for many, many, many years for this moment. I've been training as an initiate in these temples, and and this was the time of initiation. And I found myself there in sarcophagus and hearing the voice of my teachers, my masters, my guides who have been training me. And they kept telling me, kept saying to me telepathically, all of this happening telepathically. Rise, initiate, rise. Rise, initiate, rise. Meaning train your mind. Don't get lost. Don't get lost in the astral plane. Focus your mind. Remember your training. It was such a soul shaking experience that it became a life mantra for me. When I go through a chapter of um, a challenge or accelerated growth, I don't even look at challenges in the same way anymore. A challenge is an accelerated growth opportunity. So whenever I go through those, I remember that experience and I talk to myself differently. And I tell myself, rise, initiate. This is your time to lead, to live, to create from the place of initiate level consciousness, right? So these were the the rites of passages in ancient times that you could access these levels of awakening and empowerment. So you could um, use the time that you have in your incarnation in a very remarkable way. Because once you open those eyes of immortality, once you have an experience of the sacred, you move through your reality in a different way. And this was the whole purpose of initiations. Now we live in different times. We're not being asked to lay in sarcophagus for 3 days, to drink these special potions that dissolve your consciousness and you become one with it all, right? It is not being asked or required from us. What we're invited to is to look at our life, our ordinary life, as a curriculum for the soul, and to dive into these teachings with a humble heart, with devotion, with curiosity, and to make this transition from identifying I am an ego, I'm a body, I'm a personality, right? I'm a character, to I am a soul, I am immortal. This is just another incarnation. What I'm here to do, who I'm here to become, what I'm here to remember. And it's a different quality of life. It's a different experience that you attract to yourself. It's a different thing that you create. So, this is the journey of the mysteries. And some people come to the mystery schools path because they can't silence the calling to find what's the reason behind this whole experience. Again, beyond the mortgage, beyond being a good parent, beyond being a good citizen, beyond keeping a job. What is the higher reason? Right? So you want to understand this larger story, the galactic story. Where are we going? What is the purpose? And what is my purpose? And how do I awaken that remembrance? Some people come to the mystery school teachings because they are called to their spiritual vision, and they're called to train in the path of being a channel, or being a priestess or a priest, or being an alchemist, or being a healer. So then you're drawn to this path because you want to develop a new level of mastery. You want to develop the mastery of your thoughts because you understand your thoughts are things. And you also want to develop some patience because to master the mind is not easy. Otherwise, we would all be enlightened, right? But to still the wave and to develop that focus and concentration. Other people come to this path because they want to develop their clairvoyance and these psychic abilities. You know, they know that they have a natural potential. Maybe people tell them, you're natural psychic. How did you know? Your intuition is spot on. And they ask, well, how do I develop it so it becomes truly a powerful skill that I can lean on for my work, for my ministry, for my service, right? And some people come to this path because they really hunger new depth of spiritual wisdom. And they want to develop themselves on the level of the soul and not just on the level of personality. So we all are, those of us who are drawn to this path, we each have a unique reason of why we come. For me personally, I was always on a search from age 5. I was asking my mom, I was born into a family of zero spirituality, atheists. Like there was just 3D living, surviving in Soviet Union, Russia. I am this mystical child who just wants to know what's the purpose of this and why I'm here. And I had the sense of importance of this lifetime since very, very early age. So I kept looking, and what was available for me was religion. I was like, oh, finally, Soviet Union collapsed. And the first thing that was available was Christian church because we had so many missionaries from the United States. And I was like this thirsty plant. Just give me something. Just give me something. Christianity available. I'm going to just eat it up. So for 10 years, I was a dedicated Christian until my consciousness began to expand, around 20 years old. And a lot of things of that religion just stopped making sense. So it was a natural evolution to say, thank you. This used to serve me, but there's something more. There's something more. And what I was searching for is a direct experience, gnosis, direct experience of the sacred. So the next huge chapter of my life was, just diving into life and sampling and making different choices, and and leaning into different extremes, really experiencing a life and questioning everything that the religion told me was sin and I shouldn't be doing that. And I would just give middle finger to that path and just go, let me dive, let me sample, let me taste, let me try, let me find out for myself what this life is about. And then I still did not find my access to the sacred until I had my very first experience of psychedelics, right? And that was a huge other path because finally I was like, finally I see beyond the veil. Finally I could see what's out there, right? So that was another chapter. And then I would find, these different practices, whether it is learning to feel my heart after many years of being numb and not knowing how to feel, whether to become present, right? And learning to be here now, and whether it is learning to trust the unknown. It was all this gradual transformation and awakening of the soul. But I never stopped asking myself a question. What is the true origin of humanity? I could never reconcile with the story that we were just evolved monkeys. Like, even that story would just made me cringe. I knew there was a higher legacy. We were connected to a different ancestors. Who were they? I knew there was more noble origin than us just being evolved from the monkeys. And I wanted and I yearned for that magic, living life with a sense of magic. And this is what shamanism is. And now it's coming back to me. The essence of shamanism is learning to see that everything is alive. And I remember coming to the path of shamanism, right, through the plants and also through studying indigenous spiritual traditions. And what was so unique about them comparing to the path of religion, whatever religion you take, with the shamanism, everything was sacred. The tree, the leaf, the bird, the wind, right? Everything was equally divine. And that really resonated with me. Everything was equally divine. I could align to that. That feels so authentic and true. I could really feel that with my heart, right? And then it was all about reconnecting, opening the channels. I deeply believe it's not even a belief, it's awareness that we are all born with these extrasensory abilities. We're all born psychics. We're all born able to see or to sense auras and energy fields. We're all born having this ability to hear the guidance of the universe. What happens is those abilities get shut down over time. And for some people, it's the first 5 years, for some 7, 13. But, by the time we're 20, we're deep in the matrix. We're just trying to make it. We're trying to win whatever we're winning, right? We're silencing the soul. And by the age of, midlife, 40, we are on the threshold. 40, 50, 60, 70, we're on the threshold. We either reawaken that connection with the cosmos, or we're signing up for a very sad life of confusion and on anxiety and restlessness. So the soul cannot be silenced. So in the mystery school path, what we're doing, we're reactivating our abilities, our mystical abilities. It's almost like think of yourself as an antenna that got clogged with different kind of sludge. And what you're doing with spiritual practices, with psychic exercises, is what you're doing. You're unclogging your antenna. So you become more and more as this living, open, available connection, a link between heaven and earth, between visible and invisible. Is this resonating with you? Let me know in the comments, in the chat, if you are finding this to be true for yourself. Teresa, absolutely. Good to see you, Teresa. Feel your presence. It's who we are. Yes, right? It's who we are. Yes, 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 yes. hmm So we are restoring our abilities, our capacities, where we're restoring, those divine, magical ways of seeing our reality and finding our orientation. And I feel like that's the relevance of a mystery school, is helping people connect to the sacred and find their orientation in the world that is moving so fast, that is becoming more and more loud. And when you have that connection, unshakable connection to the sacred, no matter where Great Spirit places you, no matter what your environment, you can turn it into heaven on earth. And that's the jewel. I would say that's the the graduation, the graduation level of mystery school teachings. Can you become such an alchemist that you can turn any environment you are assigned to, because we all have divine assignments, right? The more we surrender to the will of the divine, the more we are strategically given assignments. So you develop such a direct relationship with the cosmos. You keep opening your heart, you keep activating your antenna, that you are able to turn any chapter of your life, any environment that you're placed in, into heaven on earth, because it's your state of being. And you also learn how to transform, how to alchemize. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was in deep alchemy. Wow, I was telling my beloved, he was checking on me. I was like, oh my gosh, I am in the depths of alchemy. I felt restless. I felt deep melancholy. I felt like some heavy, dense energies were moving through me. Plus, it was so dark and rainy. And I was practicing what I teach, right? Meaning, going to my altar and asking myself, out of all the tools that I know and I practice, which one is most useful to work through whatever I'm working through? And my guides told me toning. You need to tone. You need to tone out the energy. So I began making sounds and allowing the energy to move, whatever I wanted to move, whether it was ancestral, collective, my own personal, who cares? Energy needed to be moved, right? So I was toning, and then I found myself singing. And then I was like pulling my tongue out like this and doing these kind of things, right? But it was so incredible because I have moved some energy yesterday. And it was like a couple of hours, 3 hours, and then I rested. And then you know how the the process of transmutation comes to completion, you become more and more and more settled, and then woof, we are complete. And then this morning I woke up and I feel like I got a spiritual facial. Right? So that's the work where you're able to, whatever you're feeling or moving through, you have a whole tool belt of energetic techniques, awareness, what is moving through me, what do I require, what do I need. And you don't allow the sludge, the psychic sludge, collective noise sludge to build up in your antenna. You are becoming more and more aware. What have I collected? Let me shift it, let me transform it, let me move through it. And that's the practicing of energetic sovereignty, right? Energetic sovereignty, becoming more and more attuned to your own energy field. And it's really powerful. So you're not afraid of difficult emotional states anymore. You don't get frightened and you don't make yourself wrong for those. You say, I am being taken into an alchemy right now. Oh, here we go. And it's uncomfortable. And you feel edgy and you don't want to be there, but you are there. And how do you take yourself through there? Because on the other side of that will always be more lightness, more expansion of your consciousness, more understanding of your nature as energetic, vibrational, spiritual being. So that's what we also learn together in the mystery schools, is how do we work with our own energy. And I'd like to plant some seeds. I don't want to make the session too long, but I'd like to plant some seeds because in an ancient Egyptian mystery school lineage, they were utterly fascinated by a particular level of their consciousness, of their being, called the Ka body, K-A, Ka body. And the Ka body is sort of like your spiritual double, right? So when you go through a soul awakening, you are awakening your Ka body. And the Ka body needs to be charged on a daily basis. Almost like, imagine if you don't feed your physical body, you're not going to last for a long. So the same thing with your spiritual body. Your spiritual body needs to be charged and nourished. And sort of a fundamentals, and I'll speak more how does Ka body plays in what happens to us after we die, right? It's really important to open that conversation. But while we're in the physical form, the more cleaner, the more clear and stronger is your Ka body, the more clearly you receive communication with the cosmos. And that means you just receive channeled information, right? You receive guidance. You receive guidance for yourself or the people that you work with, right? You're like, I just hear things or see things that comes to me. It flows through me, and it's because your Ka body is active and charged and filled with life force and potency. So the Ka body gets really affected by what we think, right? Our thoughts. But not only that, what we drink, the quality of water is crucial. What we eat, how we exercise, how do we move the physical body, right? So if the physical body is sluggish, our Ka body just reflects that. So really important, whatever the physical movement is, whether it's qigong or running or going on the walk. You know, before I channel transmissions like right now, I go on a 2-hour walk. I wake up early, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, to know that I get to activate the channel. It doesn't just fully activate it on its own. You got to do the work to activate it. So I love working out in the morning, lifting weights, running. But today I really felt I'm going to go on a long, timeless walk in nature so the nature can charge my car. So what we eat, what we drink, what we think all affects our ability to have a clear and healthy spiritual body. Then, whenever we practice a ritual, that's why rituals are so delicious, right? When you either experience a guided ritual, whether it's a guided meditation or visualization, or somebody is taking you through a well guided ritual, you feel a shift in how you feel, in how expanded your heart is, right? There is a reason. Is your car body is being nourished, your spiritual double is being nourished. So a ritual is a way we nourish our spiritual body. And if you are in service to others, practicing ritual magic or ritual processes is the way we nourish our clients or our students or the people that we serve. And of course, teach them to practice their own rituals, and you take people to a new level of mastery for sure. So the ritual, and then anytime you feel bliss and joy, anytime you activate your heart to unconditional love, you charge your spiritual body. And that's also something really worthwhile for you and I to dive in. It can sound really basic, like, Katerina, you're talking spiritual alignment one on one. But I always say, do you know this or do you live this? Because if you live this, your life demonstrated, right? So the power of love, the power of fully activated heart, it was also a part of mystery school training is awakening of the heart center. They had a whole word for the heart. They call it ba, ba, right? So the heart, it's like the heart had its own soul. And they would say the heart intelligence needs to be activated. And this is why a lot of times we come to spiritual path after we go through a heartbreak. That was my story, right? I went through a deep, shattering heartbreak from the relationship that I thought was the one. You're my soulmate. And I was collecting the pieces of my heart for like 2 years, just being shocked of how deeply that experience affected me. But that was my doorway to real heart awakening. From the heartbreak, you go to heart awakening. But in ancient Egyptian temples, for example, you would come and you would ask for initiation. You would be prepared for the first level of initiation, and it's opening the wings at the back, at the back of your body, back body, and opening and clearing your heart. So you would give in different practices to cleanse your heart and to continue to unburden your heart. So you become more and more heart-centered being who knows how to activate the heart by will, by intention. And they knew in ancient times that they knew that love is the most magnetic energy. And when we're able to live from this heart space, we attract everything that's truly meant for us. We don't need to chase. We don't need to effort. We don't even need to strive. We simply get to learn or remember. Let's just say that remember how to activate that very powerful magnet in the center of our being, and how to pay attention when it gets clogged, because it will get clogged. Something will happen that will pull a burden on your heart, or something will happen to somebody that you love that will put a burden on your heart. or you begin to worry about the future of your country or the future of your family, of the economy, of your own safety, that puts a burden on your heart. And the mystery school teachings teach you how to become aware of the burdens and how to release them, how to cultivate that heart that doesn't have walls, that doesn't have psychic burdens, how to live with a clean, spacious, magnetic heart. I'm excited about that. Just imagine the future of humanity where we send our children to mystery schools. And from the age 7 or 8, our little ones learn the power of their heart. And they learn this sacred curriculum that, hey, your heart can become heavy, it can become clogged. And this is how you undo that. And this is how you heal yourself. Imagine that possibility. And this is why the prophecy of 1,000 mystery school opening right now on the planet globally. And 1,000 is probably just a symbolic number. I really hope there's going to be more than that. More than that, and hundreds of thousands of mystery school teachers are answering the call to be of service in this way and to bring this kind of a freshness of curriculum to their communities, to their loved ones, to people that they serve. So I hope this um, flavor, energetic vibration of what mystery training is. I hope you could feel it with your heart. And I hope it helped you remember the profound sacredness of life. And, I do want to name that it's very, in the mystery school tradition, you would be trained how to fully activate your spiritual body. Why? So you would be fully prepared for the moment of death. And I shared in the last session, the session number 2, in the mystery school tradition, death is not a taboo. It's not something that we don't want to talk about, right? We don't want to talk about death because it's uncomfortable. But we know that we're all approaching it. All of us will die. So if you're drawn to mystery school because you want to die well, you want to prepare for that powerful chapter. So they would train you because it's really easy to get lost in the bardo, Tibetan tradition, bardo states, or the astral worlds. A mystery school doesn't believe in hell and heaven and the crazy illusion of a human mind of punishment. But it does tell you there is these astral planes of existence. And it is a responsibility of each human to get to know that terrain before it's your time to go, right? To be aware that you will be traveling. And this is why in ancient Egypt, every single person from childhood knew about Egyptian Book of the Dead. They would be taken to the temples and they would be told these myths of great passage and how to activate your spiritual body, Ka. Because if you, those who were not initiated into the mysteries, after death, their Ka body just dissolves and disperses and becomes, universal chi, right? When you do preparation training for your consciousness. You can consciously choose and navigate what's happening to you after you drop the body. You can navigate, you can direct your mind, you can follow, right? Where you're going. So it's really, really powerful. You can choose your next experience in a way. I want that. I don't want just disperse and just randomly, robotically take another body. Not interested in that. So you can train your consciousness to be prepared to navigate that transition. And I find it so fascinating because, when I studied the works of Helena Blavatsky, the very world known Russian mystic who was deeply misunderstood. Some people worshipped her or some people demonized her, right? There was no in between. There were just like this very polarized opinions. But she was a revolutionary in bringing the most hidden teachings from Tibet and India. They were kept secret in monasteries. And she studied there and she traveled there and met with the masters, ascended masters. And she was willing to put a lot on the line to bring these teachings to the West. And she was willing to be ridiculed and again, falsely accused of a lot of things. But that was part of her assignment to bring those sacred teachings to the West. So whether I read her teachings or her apprentice, Annie Besant, who was also a founder of the Theosophical Society, they talk about different planes of reality and different levels of existence that happens after we drop the body and how to prepare for that. And I believe it's a sign of maturity, to be ready and to welcome that experience in a wise, good way. Because if you're not afraid to die, because you understand what takes place from a spiritual perspective, how differently do you live? Right? How differently do you live? So, for those who were willing to take these initiations, they would learn the spiritual science of preserving their car body, and that means you're able to remember your lifetimes, right? Not just dissolve into oblivion, but actually navigate that life after physical experience as a luminous soul. So I'm going to pause there. There are certain practices that we can learn how to do to be ready for that. So we've been here for an hour. How fast time goes. To me, it's always just so timeless. I wanted to see if anybody has questions or, yeah, you're so welcome. Oh, Rob, hi, darling. Yes, if anybody has questions on the Path of Mystery School and why we would dedicate 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years for this kind of a soul training, spiritual science. Yeah, spiritual science. Because in right after spring equinox on March 26th, I'm hosting the opening of Satori Mystery School. And it's a 6 month curriculum that will have 6 different initiations. This will be a very experiential journey that will offer you many different rituals, practices, from mental training to psychic abilities development, learning to develop your clairvoyance, ability to hear cosmic guidance, ability to channel with ease, right? Ability to bring your work to a new dimension of depth and mastery, ability to see your life as a mystery school, right? So I'm I am opening that school and it's happening online. So it's available to anyone. You don't have to be you don't have to physically travel to California. You can simply meet me in the virtual temple. And there are two levels. The first is a level 1, which is a main temple, wisdom temple teachings. And a level 2 is a more accelerated path. I call it priestess path, where you have one-on-one time with me. So those are the two ways that you can engage with this spiritual development and life mastery, becoming the embodied mystic. And if this calls you, let me know. And I am here to answer your questions, to welcome you to school. We already have our first initiates joined. Patty is in, Maud is in. Yes, I am so, so excited to dive into this with you, awakening that living flame in your soul, in your heart. And I'm going to, while I'm listening for your questions, waiting for your questions, I'm going to drop a couple of links here in the chat. And you can take a look. And there is a payment plan for main level for those for whom this could help. It's $500 a month for 12 months. Or if you want to save $1,000, you can just pay one payment of $5,000 for the main level. And the next level is 7,500. Also has a beautiful payment plan of, I believe, $657 per month that I've made it available. So mystery school teachings is not something that I teach every year. The last time I taught Ascended Masters training was 6 years ago. So this is an opening right now. And for those of you who may know me, I'm also an entrepreneurial business leadership mentor. So I love dancing in both realms. You know, just before this teaching, I was supporting a client in rebirth of her business and her leadership and her skills. And I find it very playful and satisfying to play and to operate in both realms. So, Mystery School is for those of you who want to activate those new um, spiritual abilities, psychic abilities, as well as to bring your sacred service to the world in a deeper way. Yeah. So, and also if you're just passionately curious about these different lineages, because we're going to dive into how to practice magic, real magic, how to practice alchemy, how to work with your dreams, how to interpret your dreams, how to work with energy. So, things of this nature, how to channel. A lot of times people ask me, Katerina, how do you channel? Right? Because, you know, like this entire talk has been a channeling experience. And I'll be happy to teach you my approach or help you remember how to do it. Because I believe channeling is a natural ability. What it takes is to let go of the egoic interference, like personality structure, because ego just wants to look good and it doesn't like to let go of control. And when ego is in the front seat, we feel tense and we feel worried and we are very self conscious. So, part of the channeling training is to transform that and to let go of that and to become more and more at ease and more natural in your ability to bring divine wisdom through you and to trust what's coming through. And it is my deep soul conviction that we're all channelers. Some of us just have more heavy suit of conditioning that needs to be unpacked, and a little bit more patience in the process, right? The ego is just can be such a dense structure of control and safety mechanism. So the more patient we are and the more persistent we are, that armor, that defense mechanism begins to come down, come off. And our heart is beaming and our soul is beaming. And we feel more and more ease, more and more flow, more and more trust. No questions, no comments? How are you doing? How are you doing, my darlings? So good to I can speak to you about crystals and angels and archangels. Everything is good, everything is clear, beautiful, no questions. What about comments? You're so welcome, Uni. What about comments? Mm, do you remember any of your past lives? Hmm. Yeah, the fascination. I remember I couldn't silence my fascination. I just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. People ask me, "What do you do for fun?" And I say, I study mysticism. That's what I do for fun. That's what I can't get enough. People are like, What do you do for fun?" And I was like, "Do you want to know a real answer?" The real answer is that I study mysticism and I practice magic and I talk to my guides and I channel, right? Hmm. Beautiful. Rosalind, just listening to you helped me awaken more every time. I love it, Rosalind. So good. So good. Yes, my darlings, I really feel, when the world is going through such massive transformation, and so many people are questioning everything they thought was reliable, like governments, news, textbooks that needs to be rewritten, religion, educational system. More and more people want to access gnosis, that direct experience. And I find mystery teachings the give us that sacred spiritual science and give us ways to remember who we are and what a gift it is to be incarnated in the physical form. I remember learning about Thoth. For those of you who have time to stay, I'll tell you a little bit about Thoth. And he's such a cosmic teacher for me. Thoth created cosmic laws. I have a program called Sovereign Mind, and the student version and the teacher version, and it's all about natural, universal laws that are unchangeable, that constantly work in all dimensions. So if you're in the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, cosmic laws work. So it's really important to know them. So Thoth was the one who created cosmic laws. He's a really master being, master creator. And, when you start connecting with these ancient creator beings, creator gods, as we call them, uh, divine entities, um, you are connecting to the type of mentors that you always wished you had, right? And there is more. And I remember when I first learned about Thoth, I just couldn't get enough of learning about him and connecting with him and um, learning that he stands for wisdom. that all that he wanted was wisdom. And he writes in one of the sacred texts written by Thoth, he writes that the human experience is so unique and so precious that there's souls just waiting in line because there is not enough bodies for everybody who wants to incarnate and experience human journey. But the reason why the human journey is so unique is that you can experience both the spiritual world and the physical world at the same time, right? There's other planes of reality where you don't have physical form. You travel through the thought form or through light or through color. And it's great and it's fun, right? It's a different kind of experience. But many, many planes of existence, you don't have a physical form. And only being human, you have this unique experience of having physicality and being on this beautiful planet and remember and playing this game of reawakening. So when I learned that, it opened my heart so deeply to the mystery of human experience, to the magic of it, and to the sacredness of it. And I wanted to be that tree. I really wanted to plant my roots deep into the ground, be an embodied mystic, not just a floating, airy fairy person, but really ground myself into this human experience and keep expanding my branches, keep connecting to a galactic level of consciousness. And that is what's truly possible for us. And the mystery school lineage gives us that sacred path and the curriculum. And this is why it's exciting. I think it's a good way to conclude our time together, my dear ones. I'm going to send you this replay for those of you who are ready. Remember the energetic sovereignty, the purpose of initiation, the Ka body, your spiritual double, and learning to mm, experience this reality from a much bigger point, right? Much bigger point. You're like, it's not just paying your mortgage on time. It's also becoming the healer, the alchemist, the oracle, the channel, the mystic that I know I can be. So much love. I am sending you love and a big energetic hug. And those of you who would love to be a part of Mystery School, please take a look at my social media. Send me a private message if you need to have a conversation with me to make sure it's the right journey for you. And of course, check your email because it will come to you. On this note, thank you, thank you, thank you. A big hug from my heart to yours until we see each other next time. Bye.